Mr. Eggplant presents.
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you for checking out this video. And we are back here in the beta for Dragonflight, and we are going to be doing some more theory crafting, if you will, talking about some different builds. I did Mythic Plus and AOE last night. In fact, this is the talent build that we build in that video. Be sure and check the link down in the description if you want to check out that video. And then we are going to be looking at a single target build today. So just like with the last video, the same rules apply. My goal is going to be to get down to the tree, to the main ability that I want to pick up for single target is going to be Death Chakram, to spend as few points as possible to get to that and then flesh out the build from there. And then we'll do single target in both, and it's going to be most likely not necessarily a PvP build, but a single target raid encounter build. That's going to be kind of my goal for this video. And then also I will let you know like the different flex abilities. Maybe you could drop some off and then give you options as well, because there are still quite a few options, not as many for AOE. The Mythic Plus build has a lot of different options that you can play with, and I'm really liking that. There's not necessarily a true cookie cutter build for your hunter, at least so far in the beta. So let's go ahead and look at the hunter general talents first. So as a marksman hunter, we do get kill shot for free. Thank you, Blizzard. I don't know why we don't get aim shot for free, but you know, I said that in the previous video. I guess we'll just have to spend points on it. But we'll go ahead and put 2 points in post haste, then put 2 points in natural mending, 1 point in counter shot, 1 point in survival of the fittest, and then 1 point in misdirection to help out your tank. So the reason I'm not putting any points in concussive shot or tar trap right now is you usually don't use those on a pure single target encounter. In fact, most of the time the bosses are actually immune to that. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and not add those to my build. So to get down, I need to spend 1 more point, so we're going to put 1 point in improved kill shot, since on a single target encounter you'll be doing a lot more kill shots than you will in AOE, except maybe if you're using, you know, death blow or razor fragments over here, but that's another build for another day. So I have to spend 12 more points now to get down in the hunter tree. So there's going to be quite a few that are pretty gimme for the most part. One of those is going to be Born to be Wild, so we'll put 2 points there, and then we get our first choice node, which is going to augment survival of the fittest. One, we can either reduce the cooldown of survival of the fittest by 30 seconds and increase its duration by 2 seconds, which it would have been 6 seconds base, or we can have survival of the fittest, which is a 3-minute cooldown, reduce the damage taken instead of 20% by an additional 20%, which would make it 40% overall. So currently in the game, it's a 3-minute cooldown, and it only does the 20% reduction. I'm used to playing around with that with a 3-minute cooldown, so because of that, I just want it to, you know, protect me more. So I will probably opt to use Nature's Endurance, and then in the last video, I actually picked Lone Survivor. Honestly, you will see me use both of these throughout my time here in Dragonflight, should they stay the same. So now we have 9 more points to spend, so I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in Rejuvenating Wind to beef up that exhilaration just a bit more. And now we have a couple of options, and we have to get down here to Death Chakram, which means we have to get to Keen Eyesight, and we have 2 avenues to do that. So this is one of the abilities where you don't necessarily need it in a single target encounter, one being Scatter Shot and the other being Binding Shot. They are both strong abilities. One gets rid of your dots though, so keep that in mind. Not only your dots, but anybody's dots that's on the target, and it also has a much shorter range than your average hunter ability. So you could either put a couple of points here, so you could put 1 point here and then, you know, a couple of points up here if you'd like to, or you can go ahead and put points in Sentinel Owl. And the reason I'm kind of jumping around right now is that there is one ability on this tree, which is Steel Trap, that I'm really not sure of. So this could be considered a bleed build because you have serrated shots, and you could eventually put, you know, like Death Blow or Razor Fragments, which are also bleeds. Coupling that nicely with Master Marksman, which is currently in the game already, you have a nice bit of damage, and your poisons, like your Serpent Sting and whatever it would add, you know, if you want to pick your Poison Injection or Hydra's Bite, would do more damage. So that's going to give you some options, because Explosive Shot's probably not going to really be worth it on a pure single target encounter. So let's go ahead and do the least amount possible. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 point in Binding Shot for now. We can always move it later. And Also, if you are picking the steel trap, you probably want to pick improved traps just because it lowers the cooldown by 5 seconds, which is, you know, like 20% of the entire cooldown, which is not a small number for sure. So that gets us down here a little bit farther and then gives us 4 more points to spend. So Hunter's Avoidance, as long as it seems kind of lackluster, but it's still pretty strong. It's like adding 6% Avoidance in Shadowlands to your build, just, you know, just from baked into the tree, and that's not a bad amount. So here we have to spend 3 more points. So this is where you have some options. You could put points in Camouflage. You could come up here and put a point in Concussive Shot if you wanted to, or Tar Trap. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go ahead and put a point in Sentinel Owl, and then I'm going to put a point in Sentinel's Protection. So Sentinel's Protection was just nerfed. It used to be 5% leech for your entire group, plus 10% magic reduction, or magic damage reduction, I should say. That's not as strong, but it's just kind of a placeholder right now, and honestly, I don't really like Sentinel Owl. It is kind of meh. But this could be something that could help your group, and it could be used as a mini cooldown for your raid. And now I need to spend 1 more point. So you have, well, you know, multiple options: Concussive Shot, Tar Trap. You could put a point in Camouflage, but I'm going to go ahead and put at least 1 point in Pathfinding, which gives us 3% movement speed. Very lackluster, but it is required to move down the tree and just moving a little bit faster. And plus, this movement speed, 6% movement speed, coupled with one of the flasks that you can use, which gives you speed while you're in between standing still, this might actually be pretty strong on your Marksman Hunter and give you a lot more mobility. But we opened up what we needed to, which was Keen Eyesight, so let's put 2 points there, and that lets us get down to Death Chakram. So now we have 8 points to spend. That's all we've done. We've got down to Death Chakram, and now we can kind of fill out the rest of our tree. So the next best abilities to pick up are going to be Master Marksman, which will increase the bleed damage in our build, or at least the number of bleeds in our build, since we're going to be critting quite a bit thanks to the large amount of crit that's already baked into the trees, which we'll get into a little bit later with like Unerring Vision and like Hunter's Knowledge, you know, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in Serrated Shots. So that just means that my Serpent Sting and my bleeds do 20% increased damage, and it is increased to 40% when targets are below 30%, which, by the way, if you're running with some of these other abilities over here, like Bullseye, you're going to be critting like crazy once you get to like 30 and 20% and below. So we are going to really be able to ramp up damage for the last bit of a boss's health. So in this build, which, you know, it might change in future videos, I'm going to go ahead and pick Steel Trap. I'm not a big fan of Steel Trap, but it does work pretty well, and I think it'll work better than, let's say, Explosive Shot on a pure single target fight. And plus, then you don't have to waste 2 points on Arctic Bola. This thing, you know, honestly does no damage. It does like 0.7%, maybe 1% of your overall damage in a Mythic Plus. Kind of lackluster if you ask me. So now we have 3 points left to spend, so I'm going to go ahead and put 1 point in Serpent Sting. I know we're going to be picking Serpent Stalker's Trickery over here, so it feels kind of bad, but honestly, like damage-wise, there's not a ton of other options in our tree, so the best bet after that would be to spend 1 point on Serpent Sting to then pick Poison Injection, which means Serpent Sting's damage applies a latent poison to the target, stacking up to 10 times. Aim Shot consumes all of those stacks, and then it does 1.3k damage, nature damage to the target per stack consumed. It's just passive, and you're already going to be putting, thanks to Serpent Stalker's Trickery over here, you're already going to be putting Serpent Sting on a bunch of different targets, even if it is a multiple target fight. So this might be the best ability left in the tree. Not the best ability overall, but the best amount of damage left for us. And then that means we have 1 more point left. So I'm going to go ahead. I know Arctic Bola does damage, but it doesn't do a lot. I actually kind of rather put a point in Pathfinding. That shows you how much I don't like Arctic Bola. It just feels very lackluster to me. So that does get us through the main Hunter points here in the tree. So let's go ahead and shift over to the Marksman Hunter only side of the talent tree. So we have 30 points to spend, and a lot of these are going to be, you have to pick these. So aim shot, and then we're going to go ahead and pick crack shot to lower the cost of your arcane shot and chimera shot by 20. Then improve steady shot. I actually skipped this one on the AOE version of this video and did it like way almost to the end, because I kind of mixed this one up with streamline, or excuse me, this one up with steady focus, which for single target, we're going to be picking both, so it doesn't really matter. So then we're going to go ahead and pick 2 points in precise shots, and this is because the 4 set in our tier for this, at least assuming it stays the same, the 4 set for tier is going to make them 100% chance to crit. You have a 10% chance on an auto shot, which is basically a little bit better than your lock and load proc rate, since that's 8%, that you will be 100% chance to crit on these precise shots. So it's very important that they're doing the most damage as possible, and you'll see that in the later part of this video. So now we want to pick Lone Wolf, we don't really want to pet as a Marksman hunter, and then that allows us to pick Rapid Fire, and we have 1 more point we need to spend still, so let's go ahead and put 1 point in Streamline for now to go ahead and move down the tree. Let's put another point in Streamline to open up these, and then this is where you can pick either Lethal Shot or you can pick Surging Shots. So this is kind of a toss between the two. So Rapid Fire deals 35% increased damage, and then has your aim shots have a 15% chance to give you back the cooldown of Rapid Fire, or you can pick Arcane Shot and Multi-Shot have a 30% chance to reduce the remaining cooldown by 5 seconds, which is, I think it's a 20-second cooldown, so that's a decent amount of cooldown reduction. So in this video, I'm going to pick Lethal Shots. I actually picked Surging Shots in the previous video for AOE, but Lethal Shots, you're going to be casting a lot more Arcane Shots, and not multi-shots, but you know what I mean. You're going to be casting a lot more Arcane Shots on a single target fight than you do at the very end of Shadowlands, so we're going to go ahead and pick Lethal Shots. And then we don't need to go any farther down this tree since this is all AOE based. So let's go ahead and come back up here, and then we're going to put, let's see, 2 points here in Hunter's Knowledge to increase the crit strike chance of aim shot and rapid fire by 10%. So that's, like I said, more crit baked into the build itself. So on a boss, we're going to want careful aim, so there's 2 points in careful aim, and then we're going to go ahead and put 1 point in target practice, which, read there again, Arcane Shot does 25% more damage, so really just beefing up the Arcane Shot damage in our build. So now we want to get to double tap, and oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, the goal of this build is to get down here to calling the shots or unerring vision, so that's what I'm trying to do as quickly as possible. So now we have to pick steady focus. It's very important for us in our single target build anyway, and this is the only way to get down without going, you know, like razor fragments or going into volley. This is the only way to get down here to unerring vision or calling the shots. So I have 2 more points I need to spend. So let's figure out where we want to spend those. So one of those is going to be in Serpent Stalker's Trickery, and I know it's really redundant to pick Serpent Sting over here and then Serpent Stalker's Trickery over here. It's frustrating, but I would much rather spend 2 points picking Serpent Sting and Poison Injection than putting 2 points in Arctic Bola. I do not like Arctic Bola. It does not do nearly as much damage as you think, but also maybe it's still bugged and I just don't know it, so that's something to think about as you're going through this video as well. So now I have 1 more point to spend, and let's see, where do we want to put that? It's either aim shot and rapid fire just do 5% more damage, or crit shot, or excuse me, kill shot has an additional 10% chance to crit. That's really going to be kind of dealer's choice, if you will. If you're not going death blow and you're not going razor fragments, maybe this one isn't as nice of an ability, but we'll go ahead and put 1 point in death blow here. I'm not actually going to go into razor fragments. But you can also switch this, and this is one of those options, like I said, where you can switch points. So you could take 1 point out of Death Blow and put it over here into Focused Aim and still get the same effect. So, you know what? Let's leave it in Focused Aim for now and see what we can do damage-wise for the rest of our tree. So now we have everything else unlocked. So 1 point in True Shot, it's very strong. It's one of our best cooldowns, and I don't know why you wouldn't pick it as a Marksman Hunter. If you think you wouldn't pick it, leave me a comment down below as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts behind that. Then that puts 2 points in Eagle Talon's True Focus, which is a legendary here in Shadowlands, and then you get down here to Calling the Shots or Unerring Vision. So for now, I'm going to put point in Unerring Vision, but if you're really good at pumping out Focus, maybe Calling the Shots is the way to go. But for now, I'm going to be picking Unerring Vision. So now we have 6 points left to spend. So there's a couple of different options you could do. You could put points in Wailing Arrow, and if you put points in Wailing Arrow, you probably want to put one in Readiness. So that means whenever you use your Wailing Arrow, it automatically resets the cooldown of Rapid Fire, even if you just used it, and automatically gives you 2 charges of aim shot, even if you are empty. So that's pretty strong to like rearm yourself, particularly if you spend a couple of seconds, using your steady focus and getting that extra focus you get from steady shot, and then you get to be full focus or close to it. Then you go, aim shot, then your arcane shot, rapid fire, and then go back into your aim shot. That could be a nice bit of bonus damage, particularly in the middle of true shot or right after true shot. So Bullseye is going to be something that I'm going to pick right now. So go ahead and hit at least 1 point. Let's go ahead and put 1 point for now, because how often will you actually be able to hit 30 times when a boss is below 20%? So earlier in the beta, every one of my rapid fire shots was actually giving me a point of, or excuse me, 1% crit for Bullseye. So if that's the case and it stays the same, Bullseye will be very, very strong if you are running with rapid fire, which most people will be. So I'm going to put 1 point in Bullseye for now, just to see if we can get a little bit more options in the build. And then we can go ahead and put 1 point in Lock and Load. You can put 1 point in Focused Aim if you'd like. You could put 2 points in Killer Accuracy. This is really where it's going to be dealer's choice, so to speak, or you could even put a point in Death Blow still as well. So I'm going to go ahead and opt for the guaranteed damage. So I'm going to put Wailing Arrow down here, and then I'm going to pick Readiness. And the reason I'm not picking Windrunner's Barrage is, for one, if you're going to pick Windrunner's Barrage, you have to go at Legacy of the Windrunners and then Windrunner's Guidance, just because it synergizes too well. Unfortunately, I did a couple of dungeon runs, and this was working when I was doing the dungeon runs. It only procced my bonus true shot like 2 or 3 times the entire dungeon, and then also the wind arrow damage was very nominal. It was like 1.5% of my total damage. I feel like it needs to do more damage if it's going to be here at the very bottom of our tree. So because of that, I'm probably going to stay away from that now unless it sees an increase to damage, a buff of some sort. So now we have 2 points left, and so our options are going to be to put a point in Bullseye. We could put a point in Death Blow and then Razor Fragments, or we could put a couple of points in Killer Accuracy. So what I want to go ahead and do, I guess over here as well, Focused Aim. So I'm going to go ahead and put a point in Focused Aim just to increase the damage of my 2 main abilities, and then I'm going to opt to put a point in Bullseye. So go ahead and let that stack up to 30 times. And then we'll go ahead and save these talents for when I inevitably make another video or do some more testing here in the near future. So, like I said, there's a main build that you want to go with as a single target marksman hunter, but then there are options as well. So if you want to do the full bleed build, certainly can with Death Blow and then Razor Fragments. And if you do that, you do want to put points in Killer Accuracy as well, because the more times your kill shot will crit, will be the bigger the bleed effect from Razor Fragments, and that's very important for you if that's what you want to build, especially thanks to serrated shots, then running with Serpent Stings, both actual Serpent Sting and Serpent Stalker's Trickery, as well as Poison Injection, and then the bleed from your Steel Trap. That all coupled with the enemy taking 10% more damage thanks to your Death Chakram. And also up here, don't forget, you have Kill Shot already, duh, but you also have an increased damage of that kill shot by 25%. So there's a lot of really good bleed synergy, which is really weird because when I think of Marksman Hunter, I don't think of bleeds, but you're going to have a lot of crit baked into your build. You're going to be able to go with a Haste Mastery build. That's what I'm looking to go for right now here. in the beta, and I will continue to make more videos for you guys, so consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/MrEggplant. I'm going to have some full dungeon runs here very soon and try to test some various things as we get closer to seeing Mythic Plus here in the beta. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to see how some of the affixes are, and then just how some of these dungeons are when things don't die in 2 seconds. I'll have some live and then some recorded heroic runs for you guys, and so much more. So I really look forward to chatting with you guys down in the comment section down below. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're going to be gunning for on your Marksman Hunter, and I'll see you in my next video.